research. Alrighty, well, let's get started. First of all, you can see the risk disclaimer. I don't have to explain this one. Forex carries a high level of risk. It's not suitable for everybody. Also, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy that tries to make it in the Forex market, just like you guys. I'm also not a professional trader. I am trading for a while, but I'm not a pro yet. However, I did become profitable last year. And I finally make a steady income with it. Not that much yet, but it's growing over time since I'm not relying on it and I can let it grow. And my goal is to help other guys that are struggling out there to achieve the same achievements, which is in the end financial freedom. And that's why I started to develop this trading system. So let me get my bullet points. I have them somewhere. I apologize. Like I said, I had an alarm set, but it didn't go off. So I am prepared, but a little unprepared. I do have bullet points. Okay, so I muted my sound. That's good. All right, first up, before we even get into the system, and I'm going to leave the risk disclaimer up for the first part of this video, I want to explain something about repainting indicators and my opinion about it. And that's basics that you need to know before we even get into it. In my opinion, there's two different kinds of repainting indicators. There's repainting indicators that are just plain out crap. There's no other way to explain it. However, there are relatively good indicators that are technically repainting, but what they do is they predict a market turn. They are not always correct, so when the market changes, so is the indicator, and that's what is usually called repainting. However, that is necessary in order to adjust to market conditions. So that's my opinion on repainting indicators. Now, my system is based on so-called repainting indicators, but they're all predictive indicators, and they're actually very good, each in their own right, in what they're doing. The system, or the basic principle behind the system, is that if you combine a couple of really good indicators that are predictive and you let them work together and you find the right combination, they actually work really well and actually can help you to get an edge in the market. And that's what this is all about. Trading is about having an edge, meaning you're not always going to win. However, in the long term, you're going to come out ahead in the end. Kind of like a casino. A casino always has an edge over the players, so they're going to pay out every once in a while, take their losses, so to speak, but in the long term they're going to make a lot of money. And that's basically what trading comes down to too. It's very that simple. It's that simple. Then I wanted to explain why I'm giving this template out for free, or the system. There's no catch, no hook. The system is completely free of charge. So that means you don't have to pay a cent to get it. You don't have to pay a cent for the support that we're going to have in the Telegram channel. And there's also no monthly fee or anything. So it is literally completely free to you. Again, the reason why I'm doing this is I want to help other people out there to become profitable over time. And I think the system is really easy and that good that it can be profitable. My main reason behind it is, though, if you start making money off of it, if you profit from the system, then all I'm asking in return is that you actually give part of your profits back in the way of giving back to charitable organizations. That could be shelters for women, it could be shelters for homeless people, it could be animal shelters, local charities that you have in your area, whatever it is. That's all I'm asking. So really there's no catch other than that. And the other thing that I'm going to ask of you is that if you come up with a better way to trade the system or improvements that make it even better, then please share it with the community so that everybody has a chance to, use this template for making profits in the market. Then I wanted to explain legal implications. This template is free completely. It's considered open source, and therefore it's also protected by open source laws and legal prosecution. That means I'm giving this out for free and you can use it, no problem. However, if you start using it for commercial use, meaning that you create your own trading group and claim it as your system, and you go out there and charge people a monthly fee or for the system itself, then I reserve myself legal prosecution and compensation. So keep that in mind. You are perfectly fine to give it away for free. That's fine. That's what it is there for. But you cannot charge other people for it. And if I find out about that, then I will contact my attorney. We also have a Telegram channel that is already active. It's only for beta testers at the moment, but I will open this up today or tomorrow for everybody. So if you have questions after this video, you're welcome to join us on the Telegram channel, also completely free. And I will try to help you out as much as I can. And maybe in the long run, if other people are getting the hang of it, maybe they can help out to help others in the Telegram channel as well, because I cannot be there 24/7. It's just impossible for me. I still work a regular job. Also, do me a favor, subscribe, like, and like I said, I'm not charging anything, but there are ways in the description of this video where you can leave me a tip. I always take a tip for a coffee or a beer. I'm perfectly okay with that. All right, so let's go with the system. Let me show you the system at first. So this is the system. This is the latest iteration of it, and that's how it's going to be for now. Let me just shrink this down a little bit. And I want to explain what indicators I'm using here. So let's go with the indicators separately, just so you get an idea where I'm coming from here. All right, so first of all, we're using so-called Tma bands. They're based on the ATR, and the default settings are 2, which means 2 times the ATR, and you see this in the green and the red line as the inner band. And then we use a second band, also Tma, with the ATR setting of 4. This is actually just for visual effects, so it helps you better determine our sell zone and our buy zone here. And you can see, if I zoom out a little bit, how price usually stays within those bands. Kind of like the Bollinger Bands, it's a similar idea. It rarely comes out of the band completely. It usually is contained pretty nicely by this band. This is the first indicator that we're using, and you see what it's doing. Then let me show you the next indicator. This is called the C resistance indicator, resistance support indicator. And you can see what this one does. It also kind of predicts the market turns here. It's also very good in its own right. Again, all of these indicators are repainting, but let me make a point here when I'm done with explaining what we're looking at here. So this is the other indicator that I'm using. And then we use the ATC band. However, I decided to leave the band out because all we really need are those white arrows. Now you can change the colors in any way, shape or form that you see fit. I left it white for clarity. I mean, an arrow points down or up. If you cannot tell the difference and you need colors fit, by all means go ahead and change it. You're free to do so. And then we have our last indicator on here too, which is supply and demand zones. So those 5 indicators basically make the system. Unfortunately, the ATC doesn't go that far back, so we can only see the recent events here. And yeah, this is pretty much the system, and this is what it looks like when we combine all of these. And we also have the support and resistance dots. They're based on fractals, and we use the 4-hour fractals for the 5-minute chart. You can trade the system on higher time frames if you want to, if that's your thing. Then you would need to adjust the time frames for the support and resistance indicator accordingly, which are right now 4-hour and daily. So if you would go on a 30-minute or 1-hour chart, then you would have to make this daily and weekly, and you get the same result. If you go to a 4-hour chart, you would have to make it weekly and monthly. So that's however you like to trade. I like to trade on the 5-minute because I want to have my trades in and out and be done for the day. I don't have the patience for long-term trades. Yeah, so this is the basic system. And I'll go over some general rules that you have to follow in order to trade the system. Not just specific entry rules, they're general rules. So first of all, we only open trades on candle close. That's very important. Meaning, don't jump the gun. Don't see a nice pin bar forming and jump in before the candle closes, because the market likes to play with you, and they paint a nice picture, a nice pin bar, and you think, oh my god, I'm gonna miss that trade, and you jump in, and then all of a sudden it continues the other way. So always open trades on candle close, no matter what time frame you're trading on. Always wait for the candle close. That's very important. And then for this system, we do not enter trades in the middle band, like in between the inside band. If price is in there, we do not enter a trade, period. It has to be in the buy or sell zone, or even better, outside of the buy and sell zone, but never in the middle of this band. Do not take a trade there, ever. If we get a setup, and I get to that, and the price is in the band, give it one candle and see if it comes back out. Usually it does, and not always. If it does, fine, take the trade. If it does not and it just continues up, you miss that trade, period. Wait for the next one. Simple as that. Very simple rule. Then also general rule is trust the system. If you cannot trust the system, obviously you can't, because you haven't used it yet and you don't know what it does. So my recommendation again would be to use a demo account at first. Test it out on a demo account. On a demo account you cannot lose any money. However, you will be able to get used to the system and learn how to trade it correctly. And then once you get the gist of it and you feel comfortable with it, then by all means go ahead and trade it with real money. But until then, I would recommend using a demo account, just so you see how it works and that you can actually trust the system and you get comfortable with it. So again, general rule, trust the system. If you don't have the trust, build the trust in a demo account. Simple as that. And then the last general rule, and this should be clear to everyone that is trading in the Forex market, losses are a part of trading. So you will lose trades with this. It's not the holy grail. It's not a loss-free system. However, it gives you in my opinion, immense edge over the market, and it will give you a lot more winners than losers. And I know that from experience. I've been trading this for the last 3.5 months while developing it. So yes, you will lose trades, but you need to be okay with it, and then just move on to the next trade and then make it back and then some. That's just part of it. And if you can't stomach an occasional loss, then you shouldn't trade at all, period. Bottom line is, if you have an edge over the market, you will still come out ahead in the end, even if you take a loss here and there. So keep that in mind. All right, let's go over the entry rules of the system. First thing, we want to see price obviously in the buy or sell zone, or even better, we want to see price outside. These are the really juicy ones in my opinion and from experience. That's the first trigger, so to speak, and we do have an alert on both bands. When price touches those bands, you will get an alert. You can set that or not, that's up to you. I don't use it because we also have an alert on the white arrows, which we also need to trade. And usually you can wait for that signal to come in before you even consider taking a trade. Thanks to Thiago. That's why that system is called the Thiago edition. He helped a lot with adding alerts and everything, and getting this set up and together. So I'm very grateful for that. Thanks, Thiago, and have a nice vacation. He's actually going on vacation tonight or tomorrow, I can remember. So anyway, yeah, I have it set so that my first alert that I get is the white arrow. And then the next thing that we need in order to take a trade, we need to see the white support dots, which are the 4-hour support dots. They need to be there. If you don't see them, don't take a trade. Then the last confirmation would be to see the C, it's called Z, resistance support indicator, which either shows up as little white or yellow bars or in form of scissors. It's the same signal as, like, for example, down here we had scissors when I entered that trade on Friday, and then as price moved up it became a white resistance. So it's basically the same thing. It doesn't matter if you see the lines, yellow or white, or if you see the scissors, it's the same signal. And then after we get that, we check if price is still outside the middle band or in the middle zone, that's what I call it, which is a no trade zone. And if it is, we can enter. So for example, oh yeah, and then one more thing, you can see this gray area. This is our trading zone. This is the time window that you are allowed to take trades in, which usually starts at 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 2 hours before London opening, and it stops at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is halfway into the New York sessions. Outside of that zone, you are not allowed to take a trade, period. And there's reasons for that. This is the time frame where most money in the market is going through the market, and that's where we want to be part of it. We don't want to be part of it in consolidations like this outside of the busy market time, basically. And from test trading the system, those entries are the best entries you can take. So do yourself a favor, don't even look. I mean, there are going to be setups outside of that trading zone, and they would probably even work, but don't do it to yourself. More than not, you're going to lose, because that's when the market makers are playing with you. And just so you know, yeah, Serge, I'm sorry. I let them all know that I'm live. So, and it's also recorded, so if they cannot make it, that's fine. They can watch the recording later on. So I'm just trying to go over the system and the rules first, and then I'm gonna look at the chat and see what's going on, if that's okay with you. Okay, so let's get back to this. One more time, price needs to be in the buy zone or outside of the buy zone for a buy, and it needs to be in the sell zone or even outside of the sell zone in order to take a sell short. We do not take entries within the band, the middle band, between those two lines. And here's a good example. You had price coming out. Let me make this a little bigger so you can see it. We had price coming out on Friday. That was one of the trades that I took. And there are two different trades that you can take, so I'll explain it in a second. But this was a valid setup. We had a price coming into the buy zone. We had the white arrow. We had the resistance printing on close of that candle. I think it was scissors at first. And you cannot take this trade here, even though it's a valid trigger or signal. So, but there's a one candle rule, so that means if the next candle comes back out of the band and closes outside, then you're allowed to take that trade. And in this case it did. It doesn't always, but in this case it did. And then you take your entry right here, and you exit is obviously when it goes into the sell zone, and you get the white arrow and the resistance indicator on the other side, which this arrow was in the sell zone on Friday. It just shifted up later on, but it was a valid exit signal. It needs to touch the other side at least, give you a white arrow and a C indicator. That's your exit signal. Why was this trade valid? Because we didn't have white dots here. So let me explain. The 4-hour dots are resistances on the 4-hour time frame. So when the original change in the market or in the market trend was here, that means that was our main entry. That would be a main entry right at the resistance. We have white arrows. We have price coming out. We have a bullish candle, and we have the resistance. So that's an entry signal right here. And then your exit would be right here. Let me make this bigger again. However, we are not getting 4-hour dots up here. That tells me that this move is not over. We're just going to have a pullback and then continue up. So you cannot take this trade going down. However, since we already know that the market direction is up, we can wait for a pullback into the buy zone again, and that would make this entry valid because our trend is still up, and we have no support dots up here. So you would be able to take this trade and take it up to here. Here was an entry too. We had price coming out of the band. We get white arrows. We get the resistance dots, and then as soon as we get the C indicator printing, that would be our entry right here. And you can take this down all the way to the reverse entry signal. That would be 147 pips. I mean, you can play it however you want. You can either just play to the touch of the inner band on the other side, or touch of the outer band on the other side, or you really ride it all the way down to the reversed entry signal. that is up to you and what your nerves can handle. But I think once you get comfortable, you should be fine to ride it all the way down here. There's also, and I'm glad that actually happened on Friday. Let me just make this a little bigger so you can see this better at home. And you can do that too. Unfortunately, it doesn't save those settings, so you have to do it for each trading session. Just make those a little bit bigger so they're more visible. This can occur too, that you get the C support level here first, price coming out, but then later on you get your white arrow here. So that happens too. So you could not just enter a trade here because you got the C support level printing. You still need your white arrow, and we didn't have a white arrow here. However, as price goes up and then shoots back down, we get the white arrow, and then on the first positive candle, which would be here, it would still be a valid signal. We're outside of the middle band, we have the white arrow, and we have the C support level already printed. So this was clearly a stop hunt, and that's where our system gave us an entry. And the white arrow always needs a candle going in trade direction, meaning if you go long, we need a bullish candle. So we wait for that, and that happens to be a pin bar. That's even better. So you enter here, and then your exit would be right up here on the reversed entry signal. And here was a 4-hour support, because I actually took that trade. However, that repainted later on as this moves down, because this was actually a stop hunt on a higher time frame, which is okay, you know, as long as you have those support levels, you can take the trade. And obviously this worked out. And then as it came down, this probably would have been a loss, because we had the support levels up here, they printed down here or shifted down here, and gave us an entry signal, which would be valid. However, that would have been a loss if you put your stop loss right underneath it. But I mean, if you look here, that was about 22, 23 pips. If you give it a little room underneath the arrow, maybe 25 pips. So you would take a hit here. However, a little bit later, price comes out again, we get another white arrow, but those are still valid, even if this would not print. And then you get this pin bar. We're still on the support dots. Then you get your C indicator again, which also repaints. And then you would have another entry here, and then this would give you about 86 pips. So the 25 pips are already made up, and then some. So again, it's not a 100% loss-free system, but it will give you a lot more winning trades than losing trades. And the winning trades usually at least outdo the losses by 2 times, maybe even 3 times. So don't be afraid to take a hit. I mean, this trade here, if you trade it properly from up here all the way to the exit signal here, that would be 146 pips. Or even if you exit here, that would be 106 pips. So, you know, if you make 80 to 100 pips on one move and then take a hit every once in a while for 20 to 30 pips, you're still doing good in the end. Yeah, and that's the system. Now, there's 2 ways to trade this. I on purpose mentioned stop loss. That means entry, stop loss underneath the arrow and let it go. And then if you lose, you take the next one. It's fine. However, I called it a 6-bullet trading system. So what I do, I divide my available max lot size, which you have an indicator on the chart here. Bottom right tells you exactly how much, what the maximal lot size on this instrument is. I personally only trade gold. So in this case, my max lot size is 0.8. What I do is I divide this number by 2 and then by 6. That gives me 6 bullets, it's what I call it, or 6 positions that I can take. And I explain why. Let's go back here, because there was actually a really, really good example earlier. I think it was last week, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that was it. So here we had an entry, and I with the 6-bullet system, I take 2 positions on the initial signal. We get the initial signal here. It was valid. We had the support dots, and then one position gets closed at the band, the inner band, and the other one I keep, and I set my stop loss to break even as soon as the second position hits my profit target. Then price goes against us. This can happen, and we would have been stopped out here. Fine, we still made a little bit of money on that move. So we wait for the next opportunity to get in, which is here. That would be our next entry. And there were white arrows. I remember that trade. So like I said, the ATC does not go back that far. It only goes back for a day or two on the 5-minute chart. So trust me when I say there was a white arrow too. So we had a white arrow. We had price coming out of both bands actually. And then we had an entry right here. And I would close my first position here and then set my stop loss to break even. And I didn't get stopped out here. However, it again moves against us and stops out the second position. Fine, you made, like I said, half a trade and the other one at break even. And then we go up here, we get the white arrow, we get the resistance. So your entry would be on this candle here. Again, 2 positions. The first one gets closed here. And then this time we actually make it through and go all the way down to the, not much further in this case. But sometimes those moves from resistance to resistance are substantial. That's why I trade with several positions. And I close my best entry position basically when we reach a reversed entry signal going the other way. That's how I trade it. But you're free to just take one position and ride it up to the sell area and then wait for a pullback to get back in, like here. So you would have had one entry here, that would be one trade, and then a continuation trade from here to here, that would be a second trade. So you can do it either way, that's fine. I leave that up to you. I actually might try that next week too, because that will allow me to up the lot size a little bit. What else is there to say? Let me check. Yeah, so main entry again would be directly off these support dots and then into the sell zone. That would be a trade. If you do not get support dots on the other side, that would mean that it's just a pullback and we're going to continue up. So I would not take a trade down, or you can't. According to the rules, we need the support dots right there. If you don't have them, you can't take the trade. However, if it goes back into the buy zone, you're allowed to take a pullback trade here and have a second trade up there. As long as we do not get the 4-hour support resistance on the other side, you can still take buy trades whenever they become valid, meaning in the buy zone or below the buy zone, and we get our white arrow and the C indicator, and prices outside of the middle band, you're allowed to take that trade too. So that would be a continuation trade basically. You just gotta pay attention to the white dots. Where were the last white dots? Which direction are we going? So if you zoom out a little bit, you always can see where the last white dots were. And at this point they were here. So that means you're only allowed to take buy trades. And this would be a buy trade. You cannot take this trade down, and then you take another trade up here. This is how the system works. Like I said, it's very simple. There's really not much to it. And again, you will occasionally have losers. It happens. But your winners usually outdo your winners usually outdo your losers by at least 2 to 3 times. So it's not a big deal if you lose a trade here and there. As long as you have good trade management, you should not be making a loss overall. You know, over let's say the course of 10, 20 trades, you should always come out ahead. I would be surprised if you aren't. So let me just check if there was anything else. Yeah, if you do trade with 2 positions, like I said, on the main entry, I usually take at least 2 positions and then try to ride up the second position until we actually get the white dots on the other side. So in this case, I didn't do it on Friday because I just wanted to get out and be done. But usually I would take 2 positions here and then close one up here, and then set my stop loss to break even and see if we can reach the other side, which in this case, I would still be in that trade waiting to go further up and then close the second position at the end of the swing move, so to speak. Okay, I think that's it. So I'm opening up myself for questions. If you have questions, I'm going to pay attention to the chat now. If you have questions, please go ahead, ask your questions, and I will explain everything to the best of my ability. Just so you get an idea, a few have seen it already, but this is the account that I'm trading currently with the system. We're 1 week in. I started this account with $1,000. This is a real live account. You can see this here. The broker is LQDFX and it's verified. I'm not affiliated with LQDFX. I think they're in Belize or however you say that. I apologize because I'm German, I'm not American, so my English is not the best. Belize, whatever the country is called. So I'm not affiliated with them. So these are real numbers. This is, let me just refresh it so you see that's not a screenshot. Oh, thank you, MyFxBook. All right, here you go. So this is a real MyFxBook account. And in the first week trading this new system or this new iteration of the system, I was able to make 44.59% on the account. Now this was with the several entries that I take. So next week I'm actually going to try the 1 entry stop loss or 2 entry stop loss approach and see how well that goes. So we might see a few losers next week, but I want to prove that concept that he's still going to come out ahead at the end, even if you take a loss here and there. And I'm actually going to up my lot size for this because I also need to crank it up with the challenge so we can actually finish this challenge and actually, achieve that. The challenge, if you don't know, is trading 30 trading days with $1,000 and getting it up to at least 140,000 in 30 trading days. That's the challenge. It's just for fun. It's the proof of concept. I'm not worried if I lose that money. That's profits that I made before. So I just want to see if I can use the system to actually achieve that goal. If you want, you can follow along. I post usually daily update videos and then I go live on the weekends. Again, if you have questions, please ask me in the chat. I will be more than happy to answer your questions. And I'm just going to mute myself for a second. I just need to take a sip of water. I'll be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. So once again, explanation why I'm giving this away for free is my intention really is just to help other traders. I'm not in need of taking money from people for a system. I do have a big account that I trade to, and I'm making pretty good profits, so I don't have to ask for money for this. However, in return, like I said, if you are able to trade the system and make profits from the market, then I'm asking you to at least give back to people in need, homeless people, shelters, women's shelters, children's organizations, animal shelters, any charitable organization that you can find. If you just give them 1% of your profits every week, that would make me happy. That's all I'm asking of you. And like I said, I do accept tips. However, I prefer that you use that money and really donate it to a charitable organization. And even better, if you would let me know in the Telegram channel, if you can, show a screenshot of a receipt that you donated something, that would make me really happy. Telegram channel again goes live tomorrow, I think. Yeah. No, it's actually, I'm gonna do that tonight. I'm gonna post a link underneath the description of this recording, and then you can come in and ask support questions if you have any. And this live session will be recorded and will be on my channel, so you can watch it later again if you want to. If you have questions, you can come into the Telegram channel and ask your questions. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. Yeah, like I said, I really don't need anyone's money. I'm sitting pretty good right now. I made a really nice profit last week. A few people in the beta tester group have seen the results from last week on my bigger account, so it was pretty nuts. It was the biggest amount of money I ever made in 1 week. That's crazy. And so I really don't see a need to take $50, $100, $200 from you just to get the system. I give it away for free. But in return, just please, if you do make profits here and there, just give a little bit back to people that actually are in need of money. And in whatever shape or form you do that, that's totally up to you. As long as you kind of like pay it forward. And you know, if you think about it, I explained it in my video yesterday. If you are really able to extract a few $1,000s a week, I'm sure that's more than you that you make in your job right now. Way more for most people. So you know, you're not gonna need that much money. I mean, it's nice to have, and sure, you want to buy some things and maybe a car or a house in the long run or something like that. And I perfectly understand it. But if you take that just 1% of your profits and donate it somewhere, it's not going to hurt you, not going to make a big impact on your profits. However, it might help someone else out. That's the way I look at it. And again, I would be more than happy to see a screenshot in the Telegram channel later of people donating money to organizations that they feel worthy of a donation. That's the only motivation behind it. And of course, I want to help other people to be profitable as well, because I know for me it was a struggle for the longest time. And one thing that I learned right from the get-go was find something that is easy and works. It doesn't have to be complicated as long as you come out ahead in the end, basically, even if you take losses. And that is that system for me. It works for me. It works well for me. You can see it in the results on MyFxBook. That is a public account, by the way, so you can pull up the link. I think the link should be in the description of this live session. So those are real numbers. And the only thing that you have to keep in mind, this is a challenge, so I risk a little bit more than I would risk in my normal trading account or bigger account that I use, where I actually take the same trades. However, I do not risk as much. This is a fun challenge. There's a goal behind it, and I'm trying to prove a point with this challenge. That's all it is. So I'm risking a lot more than you should. But if you can make steady 10 to 15% a week, you should be doing more than well in the long run. You know, other people are happy if they make 10% a month. That's already an achievement. Or Warren Buffett, if you look at him, he makes 20% a year and is happy. So you gotta, put that in perspective. So if you make 5-10% a week, you should be doing very well within a few months. There's no doubt in my mind. So don't be a jungle like I am in this challenge and just over leverage and use the max lot size that you can possibly use. That would be a mistake. So, and again, demo trade it first. Give it a week, maybe a week or two, just so you get comfortable with the system and you understand how it works. And you can come back and ask questions if there's some things that you do not understand. We're going to be here for you and help you in every way, shape, or form we can. And then once you're comfortable and say, okay, this is really working and I know how to trade this now, then by all means go ahead and try it out on a live account. Again, if you can come up with better rules or different rules that work even better, or a different combination of indicators that would advance the system, by all means, I'm open for feedback. I'm not too proud to take feedback from other people and incorporate it into the system, as long as everyone profits from it and gets a hold of the new system. So you got to be open to that idea, because that's the whole idea behind the template in the first place. But if you want to, you're more than welcome to contribute and add your spin on it. And if it works out, I will incorporate it and give it to the community so they can use it as well. And again, if you post screenshots of donations, that would make me happy. That's all I'm asking for. I do the same thing, by the way. Once a month, I donate money to a few organizations here in my area. It's not that much right now. Well, actually, this month it's going to be a lot. But I usually do about 5% a month. So whatever I make on the month, I take 5% and give to charities or other causes that I find worthy of donating to. You can, like I said, you got to do the homework on your end. Let me just go over my bullet points one more time, just to make sure that I didn't forget anything. I'm gonna read that out loud to you again, so you get it a repeater here. Again, yes, the indicators are repainting. However, they are predictive indicators. That means they do, all in their own way, predict a market turn, and if they work together, that's when the magic happens. That's what this basic system is based on. And again, it's not 100%. You will have losses here and there, but with this system, from my personal experience, I have way more winners than I have losers, and one winner usually outdoes at least the last 2 losses. And it's no rarity that you have 5, 6, 7 trades in a row where you win. So if you have a loss here and there, it's not going to be a big deal. As long as you manage your risk well, you should be able to extract money and be profitable with the system. And again, demo trade it until you become confident with it, and then by all means go ahead and go live then once you fully understand how it works. Again, the reason why I give it away for free is I just want to help people be profitable in the market, and then ask those people to pay it back to charities and give part of their profits back to people in need. That's the only reason behind it. I'm not asking for any money ever. And then also that you share improvements with the community. That's the only 2 things that I'm asking from you guys when you use the system. Again, it's open source, so that means it's free for everybody. However, if I find out that somebody's using it for commercial gain and trying to make money off of others and selling it as their own system, I do have proof that the system is put together by me, not just video. There's also proof in the indicators. So I will go after you, because I will not accept that. Also, the Telegram channel, we will have a free Telegram channel for everybody. So you can come in, ask for help if you don't understand something about the system or you have additional questions. There will always be people there to help you. We have a few beta testers that already trade the system successfully, and I'm sure they're willing to help you out as well. And again, if you would like to subscribe and leave a like, and if you want, you can leave a tip as well, you're free to do so, and I would appreciate that. All right, again, general rules. Let's do this one more time. First rule is price needs to come into the buy zone or the sell zone or even below. That's your first trigger. Second trigger is we need a white arrow. Third trigger is the Z resistance or support, which are those white boxes, yellow boxes. It can sometimes come in different orders. As in this case, we had the support printing first, and then our arrow came in later. It's still valid. It doesn't matter in which order they come, but usually you get the white arrow first, and then you get your support boxes or scissors, which is the same indicator. So we need those as a confirmation, and then we need one candle going our way. Meaning if you want to go long, we need a bullish candle. If you go short, we need a bearish candle. And we need to make sure that the entry is not within the inside band. If it is, there's a one candle rule, meaning in this case, this is a good example. Let me zoom in here again. This was a continuation trade because our last resistance was down here. That means we're going up. So you would be able to take this trade, and we get our white arrow here. We get our support boxes here. But then the entry would be here on this candle, and that's inside the band, so we cannot take this trade. However, on the next candle, we come out again and close in the buy zone. So here you can take your trade, and then you write it up to here. And like I said, on Friday, I actually took this trade. That's how I know this band was this price was in the sell zone. It did hit the sell zone, so that was a valid exit where you can close your trade and be done. And since again we do not have white support dots, you cannot trade the other way. We're still going long until we get white support dots on the top, and then we go on the other way. That's how simple the system is. And your stop loss can go. And I'm going to trade it with stop loss next week to see how many losses and how many wins we have, just so as reference. Or I want to know that myself too. I would put my stop loss like one arrow length underneath the arrow or the lowest point. So in this case, actually the arrow was here, but like I said, it shifted, which is fine. The arrow would have been down here, so I would take one arrow length away from that and would put my stop loss right here, for example. Or if I take this trade, I would put my stop loss at this point. Just one arrow length underneath the lowest arrow or resistance, whatever we have. That's where I would place my stop loss. Don't be too tight, because they're gonna hit your stop losses and take off without you. They do it a lot in gold. So give it a little bit of wiggle room, and then if you, like I said, if you go one arrow length away from the lowest point or resistance, if you do have a resistance, you should be fine. And again, this was probably a loss, because I remember that the support was up here. So if you would have taken this trade, you would have made a loss. But again, from here to here, so let's say you put your stop loss here, it's about 25, 26 pips. And then if you take the next trade about, what was it, like an hour later, something like that, and you take it up to here, you would make back 86 pips. So you make back whatever money you lost here, and then some. That's like 3 times your loss. So it's not a big deal if you lose a trade here and there. And this was a valid trade, because we did have those support dots up here. And I did take this trade, and that was a nice trade from here to here. 65 pips. Then we had a trade from here. Let's say if you only take it to here, that would be 106 pips. And then you have a 25 pip loss, and then you have another 80 pip something trade. And then you would have another 57 pips here. So like I said, if you have a loss here and there, and you lose 20, 30 pips, but overall you have 3 trades with 70, 80 pips on average, you should be okay, I think. You're still gonna be okay. Just get used to the idea that, you know, there will be losses, and you need to be able to stomach that as a trader. And if you can't, then honestly, I know some people might hate me for that, but then you have no business trading if you cannot take a hit here and there. Okay, so that's it. I will put the link for the Telegram channel down in the description, and then you will be able to download that system in the Telegram channel. If you have questions, again, I'm opening myself up for questions now. Yeah, of course, Serge. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you have questions, let me know in the chat now. I'm available now, because I'm going to go on the couch in a little bit and watch a movie. So I will not be in the Telegram channel right away. You will be able to download it and see it for yourself, but I will not be available to answer questions. So if you have questions, please ask me now while I'm here, or later on in the Telegram, or tomorrow in the Telegram. I probably will hang out in the Telegram channel a lot tomorrow. So if you want to catch me there tomorrow, that's fine. I can help you out there too. Like I said, I will post a link underneath this live video once the recording is on YouTube, and then you can click on that Telegram link and come in, download it from the files section, and put it on your own computer. It's virus free. There's nothing in there they can harm you. Like I said, this is completely free. There's no catch. There's no hook. It's just what I told you it is. So I'm using it for the last 3.5 months in different iterations, and I think this is the best way to go with the system. And I made a pretty good profit last week, so I know it works. So it's up to you. If you don't understand it, or if you have difficulty understanding it, it's not a big deal. There's 2 options. You can either come in the Telegram channel and we can try to help you out, or if it's just something that you do not understand and it's not something you feel comfortable with, then by all means you don't have to use it. Everybody has to find something that works for them. This works well for me, and that's why I'm willing to share with others. Okay, so last chance. Do you have questions? Anybody? Bueller? All right. Then I'm gonna shut it down here. Like I said, Telegram channel will be in the description in a few minutes, and then you can go in the Telegram channel, The template and the indicators are zipped up in a package available. It's called 6-Bullet Trading System. You can download it in the files section of the Telegram channel, and I will be there tomorrow hanging out and answering questions, maybe even later today. But for now, I'm gonna retire on the couch and watch a movie and enjoy my night off. You all have a great weekend, hopefully, and good luck on Monday in your next trading week. Let's make some profits. And like I said, if you do make some profits with the system, please consider, like I said, I can't force anyone, but please consider giving a little bit of your profits back to people in need. That would make me happy. That's all I'm asking for. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for being here, and you all have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the Telegram channel later. Thank you. Bye-bye.